These are the kinds of stories that really blur that line between a sick prank and a terrifying reality, so let's get right into it.
Right out of the gate, the creator of the source material hits you with this direct warning. He's not just setting a spooky mood, he's telling you that the content we're about to explore is so disturbing it might challenge what you even think is possible. It's a pretty clear signal that, yeah, we're about to head into some really unsettling territory.
So here's our game plan for today. We're going to start by setting the stage, and then we'll analyze stories that are all about helplessness and being trapped. After that, we'll shift gears to look at some coded mysteries before we hit the big question. Is any of this real, or is it all just an elaborate hoax? And finally, we'll try to figure out why we're so fascinated by this stuff in the first place. Now, the analysis we're drawing from doesn't just talk about the dark web as some technical part of the internet. No, it's framed as this other place, a digital frontier where the rules of normal life just don't apply. And these videos, they're treated like artifacts that have somehow escaped from that hidden world. The first major theme that pops up in these stories is one that hits a really raw, primal nerve for all of us. The absolute terror of being trapped, completely powerless, and at the mercy of someone or something you can't see. These stories are built to give you a visceral gut reaction. So the first video we're looking at is meant to look like a live feed. And what you see is a young girl apparently being held against her will in this small, messy room. Right from the very first second, the whole situation just feels incredibly desperate. The way this unfolds is key. It starts off quiet, but the tension just ramps up so fast. A box falls over, and that's not just some random noise, it's what triggers this pure panic in her. Then she sees the camera, scribbles this frantic message, you can hear something at the door. It's this perfect buildup of suspense that leaves you completely on edge when the stream just cuts out. And then there's the message. This is the moment the entire thing shifts. You're not just watching something horrible from a distance anymore. This is a direct plea for help. It pulls you in, makes you a witness. And the specific details, 13 hours, only 2 days of food, no water, that's what makes it feel so terrifyingly real. And here's where the narrative gets really clever. Those boxes weren't just clutter. According to the analysis, they were a makeshift barricade. This detail suggests there's an immediate threat. Someone trying to get in, right outside that door. So when the boxes start falling, it means the barrier is breaking. Time is running out. All right, this second story is a little different. It moves from that fear of being physically stuck to a kind of psychological torment. What we see is a man being force-fed soup by two people in these really bizarre costumes. The horror here isn't about escaping a room. It's about the total, humiliating loss of dignity and control. I mean, the details in this are just profoundly disturbing. The giant spoon, the soup spilling everywhere, that weird, gentle caress on his head, it all just adds up to the scene of pure humiliation. The channel Alpha Aki Dark really hones in on that moment the man starts to cry, reading it as the moment he completely surrenders. He's not fighting anymore. He's just enduring. And then, right at that moment, another costumed figure walks in, and the video cuts, leaving you to imagine what happens next.
But hey, not all of these stories are about that kind of physical horror. Some of them are more like intellectual puzzles, They're wrapped up in all these layers of code and secrecy. These videos tap into a different kind of fear, the fear of the unknown and our weird fascination with conspiracies.
Okay, so to really get this next video, we have to talk about something called a number station. For decades, there have been these mysterious shortwave radio broadcasts that just read out strings of numbers. The big theory has always been that they're for spies, a way to send secret, coded messages. The analysis we're looking at uses this real-world mystery as the backdrop for a really bizarre online video. The way this video is broken down is fascinating. If you play it forward, it's just a jumbled mess of codes and music. It makes no sense. But, and this is where it gets crazy, the original channel claims that if you reverse the audio, you can suddenly hear these hidden and really, really unsettling messages. It's a classic move in these kinds of internet mysteries, looking for hidden meaning. So, what does it all mean? The analysis throws out a few big possibilities. Are we watching hackers communicating in some kind of secret code? Is this maybe a whistleblower leaking government secrets? Or is it just an incredibly elaborate and creepy prank, designed from the ground up to fool us? The video itself gives us absolutely no answers. And that last point really brings us to the core question that just hangs over every single one of these videos. After the initial shock wears off, that little bit of doubt starts to creep in. Are we actually watching someone suffer, or are we just watching a very convincing performance? This is the central conflict, isn't it? On one hand, the videos almost feel too staged, a little too cinematic to be real. But on the other hand, the dark web has a reputation for exactly this kind of content, for things that shatter all the normal rules. The original analysis itself is constantly wrestling with this question. This whole debate really gets to the core of the mystery. The argument for it being a prank points to how elaborate everything is, but the argument for it being real comes back with a really chilling question. Why would you put a simple prank on the dark web? The original breakdown also mentions that people who frequent the dark web claim they've seen stuff just like this, or even way worse, suggesting that for some people, this is a disturbing reality.
But you know, when it comes down to it, whether these videos are real or fake might not actually be the most important question. The bigger idea here might be about us, the people who watch.
The original YouTube video never gives us a clean answer. And that's the whole point. The power these stories have comes from that ambiguity, from the fact that we don't know the truth. They're basically modern campfire tales, digital urban legends. And because there's no resolution, they get to spread and grow into these big conspiracy theories.
And this is really the final takeaway. We're probably never going to find out what really happened to the trapped girl or the suit man. But the real mystery, the one that's actually worth exploring, might just be inside ourselves. Why do we feel compelled to watch this stuff? Is it just morbid curiosity, the thrill of seeing something dangerous from a safe distance, or maybe we just need new myths in a digital age? What is it about the dark, the unknown, and the truly unsettling that grabs our attention and just refuses to let go? That's the real question these stories leave us with.